Okay, today we are in the electronics lab because I have this guy, which is this MaxPower model MPD823 US Bluetooth rather speaker with USB charging port. It's got an auxiliary jack in it and a microphone in, and they call this a karaoke machine. I don't know what karaoke features other than the microphone input it might have, but we're going to take it apart. So I got this for free, and this stuff all here has LEDs behind it, these bits of plastic, and there's an LED in here, and this all flashes in obnoxious fashion. And I have already disabled. Let me see if I have the wire here. Yeah, I have already pulled out the wire that connects that stuff, so we're not going to see any more of that obnoxious flashing lights. No reason to waste battery on it anyway. So this thing is right now selling for $75 on Amazon.com. I've already got the screws out of it, so let's take a look and see what it looks like on the inside. Okay, as you can see, the entire thing is built into the front panel, and this case is just that. It's just a case with a handle on it, and that's it. So we're going to move this off to the side. Now, the biggest surprise here when you look at it is, wait a minute, there's nothing behind the tweeter. So there's no tweeter in this. That's fake. And you can see these little boards right here. This, I took all the wiring off. This was all the LEDs. For these strips are behind here, and the LEDs are on these boards. And I took all the wiring off. I just taped them up to keep them off, keep them from making vibrations, and tape them off to the sides. So all we've got in here is one speaker driver, and then all the electronics is in this little box here, which you can access from the front. And this little protrusion here, this is the battery. It takes in 18650. I don't know what I did with it, but I already replaced that. Not too hard to do, actually, because it's these 4 screws, and then this whole thing comes out. All the electronics comes out. Just those 4 screws. The battery itself is mounted in the case itself, in that little protrusion, as I said. But the electronics are all just this one thing. I thought about just taking the electronics out of this and relocating it into another cabinet. But that's a whole nother project. This thing, like I say, is selling for $75 on Amazon. I can't even imagine spending $50 on something like this. But I'm going to see if I can improve it. I've already improved it a little. Replaced the battery because the battery was dead, and it's now got a good battery in it, which is a little higher capacity than the one that it came with. And I think this tweeter will probably fit right in here. So I'm going to try and harvest some parts from another speaker so I can make this one-way speaker into a two-way speaker. I have no idea if it's going to work. But we'll see if it works or not. These components are going to be kind of mismatched, so let's see how it goes. I'm going to put this stuff in, okay, and then we'll see. So I think it was basically a success. Let's see the capacitor I put in line in between the new tweeter and the original speaker that was in the cabinet already. Just got a little electrical tape holding the tweeter in right now for testing, and it sounded okay. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use some little hot glue, and I'm going to put it in there a little bit more permanently, and then if it really works out, I might 3D print something that will fit on here that will hold the speaker in a little bit more permanently. But for now, I'm just going to hot glue it in and put the speaker cabinet back together so I can see what it sounds like with everything put back together. Now, I am kind of eliminating the only port that this thing has as far as the speaker cabinet is concerned. So this was basically serving as a port for the speaker, and actually, now that I look at it, that is not true. All right, so we've got 2 ports here as well. So I guess I'm not going to worry about that. We're just going to glue this in. I've got the glue gun warming up here, and we'll test it as soon as I get it all put back together again and see how it sounds. But it seems like it sounds better. I got to glue that down too. Seems like it sounds better with the tweeter in there. So hopefully this is an improvement. All right, so I got the glue hardening there. I'll clean up the little hairs after it's all hard, but that didn't seat perfectly, so it actually has a little space around it. I'm hoping that the air rushing past it from the larger speaker isn't going to interfere with my sound, but we'll see what happens, especially since I've got these other fairly good sized ports down here. So hopefully that'll be all right. Otherwise, I can maybe seal that up somehow. But I'm gonna let that harden up all the way. Then I'm gonna reassemble, and then we'll power it up and see what it sounds like. All right. It's all back together. No silly lights coming on. Sounds pretty good. So, new battery. Disabled the silly lights, both in the center of the main speaker and on these strips that are, I guess, supposed to make it look like a jukebox. And replace the battery inside the main electronics here, which is pretty easy. I didn't show that, but just take these 4 screws out. There's a regular style battery compartment in there. I kind of had to pry the battery out because it was glued in, but there's a retaining screw as well for the battery with a little washer, so I didn't bother gluing it back in because it had that retaining screw. It seemed like it did a good enough job. So this is a pretty easy job, but this thing, like I say, retails on Amazon for $75, and I will grant that I have seen it for $50 elsewhere, but even at $50, the way it arrived to me, at least I got it for free, so I didn't pay anything for it. But if I had purchased this for even $50, I'd probably have been upset that the tweeter is just kind of a dummy. Not kind of, but fully a dummy. There was no speaker back there, and there is now, but there was no speaker back there. And I'm gonna go ahead and call that a lie because, you don't mold something that looks like a tweeter into the speaker cabinet without hoping that that's what people are gonna think it is. So they knew what they were doing when they did this. They knew that people were gonna think that was a speaker. So I'm gonna go ahead and call that a lie, in my opinion. But I would not have bought this for any more than maybe $29.99. Given what's inside, it doesn't look like it's worth much more than that. So I've hopefully improved its value by adding the little tweeter and replacing. Now it's got a higher capacity battery in it, and it has a tweeter, and I have disabled the silly lights that have no effect other than draining battery power. So maybe it's an okay Bluetooth speaker at this point.